Very cost-effective packaging.
Yeah, no. It was gifts.
Oh.
Good evening. Mayor Webb is out of town tonight, so I'll be, you'll have to suffer through listening to me. But it's a short meeting, so it'll be quick. Pastor Pete?
Father, we just want to, thank you for the freedom we have to come here, and we thank you for the men and women. We have a lot of different groups represented here. And we come to you, the one who knows the end from the beginning, and we just ask your wisdom upon them as they take care of business and the activities of this city that you bless us with. And we do ask your blessings and protection on this city. And we just ask you to do awesome things in this town here. And just bless it. And we ask it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the June 5th, 2023 Board of Aldermen meeting to order. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Rachel Kilmer.
Here.
Tracy Newcomer.
Here.
Jim Shrout.
Here.
Kelly Netto.
Here.
Jeremy Taylor.
Here.
Pam Pope.
Here.
And Mayor Dana Webb.
Let's see, next item on the agenda is new business deletions or continuances. We have none this evening. Next item on the agenda, public comments. Do we have any public comments this
No.
evening? No public comments, okay. Next item on the agenda, the consent agenda. These items are considered on the consent agenda, so the members of the Board of Aldermen by unanimous consent can designate routine agenda items to be approved by one motion. If any items proposed on the consent agenda do not meet with approval of all board members, that item will be removed and heard in regular time. Tonight we have two items on the consent agenda. Approval of the May 15th Board of Aldermen meeting minutes and expenditures through May 31st, 2023.
I make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item, unfinished business, we have none. Moving to new business. First item on the new business agenda, presentation by Westbrook and Company regarding the annual audit for the city of Oak Grove for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2022, ending December 31st, 2022. Good evening.
Hello, I'm Brian Eckhoff with Westbrook and Company. You guys thought you had a short agenda, then you put me on it, so. Okay, so we are going to start in the bound book. Do you guys have the bound book, or do you have the PDF of it?
PDF, I
You just
think.
want to listen to me?
We have the PDF.
We'll listen to
They have
you.
the PDF.
And we have the PDF.
Okay, perfect. So if you flip through that, you'll notice that the report is a little bit different. It's the same as last year. It did change last year. At the top of the first page, you'll see the opinion paragraph. So this is our opinion on the financial statements. So this is what you have hired us to do, is to give an opinion on your financial statements on whether they are materially correct or not. And you'll see in that paragraph, it says that they are presented fairly. So this is a good audit opinion or a clean audit report. So exactly what you want to see in your audited financial statements. The next several pages are the management discussion and analysis. That's where you'll see comparative data. It's also where Matt and Rebecca get to talk about the financial statements, things that are going on. We're going to skip over it and go straight to the financial statements though. So page 10 is the statement of net position. You've got your governmental activities in one column. So that is all of the activities of the city except for the business type activities, which is your water fund and your wastewater fund. Those are the two funds that actually have charges for services. So those are separately cited as business activities. You can see total assets were about $9.3 million for the city this year. Liabilities were about $300,000. And then if you flip over to page 12, this will give you the allocation of the governmental funds. So you can see in the governmental funds, we have the general fund, Transportation Fund, Debt Service Fund, Capital Improvement Fund, Stormwater Fund, and Street Improvement Fund. So all of those funds make up your governmental activities. So total assets for those was about 5.9 million, only about $20,000 worth of liabilities, so basically your fund balance is the entire amount. The next page will show the statement of revenues and expenditures and changes in fund balance. So this, in the for-profit world, would basically be your P&L or your income statement. So you can see total revenues were about 6.6 million, and then expenditures were about 7.5 million. So we had a decrease in fund balance this year of 894,000. However, if you look at the capital outlay, you spent about 2.4 million on capital outlay this year. So did have a decrease in fund balance this year due to the capital outlay that was spent. The next page will be your balance sheet for your water and wastewater funds. You can see those two funds had 3.3 million in assets and about 283,000 in liabilities. Page 15 will be the statement of revenues and expenditures for those two funds. You can see the charges for services were about 3.8 million, operating expenses of about 2.3 million, and then you have your non-operating revenues and expenditures to where the current year change in fund balance was an increase of 785,000. So a good year in the water and the wastewater funds. Next several pages, start your footnotes. The only ones I would highlight are over on page 21, which is a summary of all of your debt for the city. Top of page 21 shows your governmental funds. You can see total liabilities at 10.6 million with about 900,000 due this fiscal year. And then your business type activities have about 9.5 million with about $760,000 due this fiscal year. At the bottom of the page, it summarizes those various bonds and certificates of participation. And then the next page actually shows all of the maturities for all of the debt by year. If you flip over to page 28, that will be where you find the budgetary comparisons. I'm not going to go through numbers on this. I'll just tell you there were no budget findings, no budget comments. So that means that you spent less than you budgeted and you did not have deficit fund balance at the end of the year. So you budgeted exactly how you need to by state statute. So flipping over to page 34. This is something new this year. This is your schedule of expenditures of federal awards. Because you spent more than $750,000 worth of federal expenditures, you're required to have what they call a single audit, also known as an OMB audit. This is the summary of all of your federal expenditures, and you can see the total federal expenditures were about 1.73 million. However, 99% of it is on that top line, which is the COVID money, which was 1.68 million. That was the cause of the single audit, which requires us to give another report and do additional audit work, and then submit documentation to the Federal Audit Clearinghouse after we have completed that. So, and we'll go over what we audited here in a couple of pages. So, if we flip over 2 pages to page 36, this is the report on internal control. We don't give an opinion on internal control, but we use it to do our risk assessment, figure out where we want to spend additional time during the audit. Anything we come across while we're looking at internal control, we bring it to your attention. If you look at the very bottom of the page, you'll see that we did not identify any deficiencies in internal control. So exactly what you want to see on the internal control report as well. Flipping on over to page 38. This is your report on that federal audit, the single audit. You can see the very top paragraph says opinion, and then the second paragraph it says the city complied in material respects. So this is a clean opinion on the federal program as well. So exactly what you want to see on the federal program side of things. Flipping on over through that report, if you go to the very last page of the PDF, it'll be page 41. This is the schedule of findings and question costs. The report title is a little misleading because there's no findings, there's no question cost, but that's what the actual report is called. So unmodified means clean opinion, so that's exactly what you want to see. The no's all the way down, except for the very bottom one, mean that there's no findings, no material weaknesses, no significant deficiencies, so that's exactly what you want to see. Towards the middle of the page, you can see that we tested the Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Fund. That's where we spent the majority of our time testing expenditures to make sure they were allowable based upon the funding applications. And then the very bottom one, did you qualify as a low-risk auditee? And it's marked no. Don't stress out about that. Number one, this was your first single audit, so you can't qualify as a low-risk auditee. Number two, when they wrote this, they wrote it for accrual basis financial statements, and you guys are modified cash basis financial statements, so you cannot qualify as a low risk. All it means is that we have to audit a higher percentage of your federal programs. So don't feel like this is a, hey, we did something wrong, we are high risk. It's just because you can't qualify as low risk. So, and then you can see it says none and none, so there's no findings on the federal program side of things. So exactly what you want to see in your financial statements. Overall, basically a great situation. You also have charts. If you want to look at those, it kind of summarizes the cash flow. You can see, if you guys just want to look at them, you can see that we've had a consistent uptrend. This is your unrestricted cash and your governmental funds. And then this throws, the governmental funds is your blue, and then it throws your water fund in the red and the wastewater fund in yellow, and you can see our cash has increased as well in all three funds this year. And then the last one is your fund balances and net position, and it kind of mirrors your cash balances. So it kind of does the exact same thing. So all in all, a good financial situation for the city this year. So any questions on the financial statements before we talk about the required communications?
Nope.
Okay. Also in your report that you received is the required communications. It's a separate stapled together paper. If there's any disagreements with management, if we have any journal entries, if we have any issues, if we come across anything that's immaterial that we think we need to bring your attention, we have it in this report. Happy to report there was not a single journal entry this year. So kudos to the staff on how well everything was prepared. There's no disagreements. It's always a pleasure coming. Nothing to note there. So this is another clean report, exactly what you want to see. Questions for me?
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item on the agenda, discussion, consideration, and possible action for bill number 23-21 regarding an ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute a rights-of-way use agreement with Socket Telecom LLC.
Yes, thank you. This is an ordinance approving a right-of-way agreement with Socket Telecom for communications equipment, fiber optic in Oak Grove. Socket has requested consent to use the city's right-of-way to construct, install, and operate their fiber optic communication facilities here in Oak Grove. This ordinance and attached right-of-way agreement mirrors the conditions allowable by state law. It is competitively equal with the other right-of-way agreements that the board has approved in the past couple of months. You may recall Brightspeed as well as Clearwave has come before the board. And this will be our third fiber optic company, Socket. As I understand, Socket, Clearwave, and Brightspeed have all also had right-of-way agreements approved in Odessa. So I believe that all three companies are wanting to come to this region and build out fiber. There is a representative from Socket here tonight. Matt, I'm sure he'd be happy to answer any questions the board may have about Socket's operations. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions the board may have regarding the right-of-way use agreement.
Thanks.
So this is another company that's not Brightspeed?
Correct. Yeah. So this would be another company coming to the city to request a right-of-way agreement. To date, we have not yet received any permits yet. So, these companies are coming in wanting to get the agreement solidified with the city. Then they go through engineering. They'll come back. They'll submit engineering plans as long as permit information. And then, we'd issue the permit and they would work on the right-of-way.
Is there like a limit to how many we allow to come in? Because they can't do anything without the permits, right? So they're all just getting the permission to
Right,
possibly
so,
come in?
yeah, I
and
mean,
then-
right, we're allowed to have certain conditions, which is what's been put in the ordinance as well as in the user agreement. But under state statute, we do have to be competitively equal or neutral. So we have to allow any utility company who wants to use or access the public right-of-way the right to do so.
Who is it that started work this week, Matt? Do you know?
I believe that is another company going down Broadway. So that's MoDOT right-of-way, so they're not required to get
Oh,
run
I
through
see,
us.
I see.
I believe it's Bluebird Fiber. As I understand, the library is contracted with Bluebird for direct fiber. So they're coming down from I-70, I believe, to wire up the library. But, so they're a little bit different because they're not doing residential or broadly commercial. But that's, yeah, it's a different company, Bluebird.
I move for the first and second reading by title only of bill number 2321.
A second.
We have a motion for first reading by title only, and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is approved. City Clerk, would you please read the title of the bill 2 times?
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute a rights-of-way use agreement with Socket Telecom LLC. An ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute a rights-of-way use agreement with Socket Telecom LLC.
I move for the adoption of bill number 2321.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval. Any discussion? City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Rachel Kilmer,
Yes.
Tracy Newcomer,
Yes.
Jim Shrout,
Yes.
Kelly Neto,
Yes.
Jeremy Taylor,
Yes.
Pam Pope.
Yes.
The motion is approved, and bill number 23-21 becomes ordinance number 2080. Next item on the agenda, discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding approval of the Metropolitan Area Regional Radio System, MARS, annual maintenance fee. City staff report, was that? Okay.
That would be me, thank you. While I come to you with needs to purchase radios themselves, this is in regards to the services provided over the air or the maintenance fee that we agree to pay to the prime site agency. The City of Independence is the prime site agency for the P25 radio system, or what we refer to as MARS, the Metropolitan Area Radio, Regional Radio System. This has not come before you as a annual bill because the fee itself has just now crossed that threshold of being over $10,000 per year. The MARS Management Council sets that fee yearly based on the number of units that you have. We have 37 units at $23.30 per unit per month, which says it's at $10,348 per year, which brings me before you this evening with that, or seeking that permission to pay that annual fee. This provides us with, or we provide them those funds to maintain the tower sites, the maintenance, the licensing, everything we need to make sure that our radios actually do what they're supposed to do, and that's transmit over the air. And with that, I would answer any questions you may have.
What was in the budget for it?
I think I budgeted $9,800 for it this year. And it is a fee that all Eastern Jackson County departments pay. It's not just us. Lone Jack, Grand Valley, everyone in the Eastern Jack pays this.
I make motion that we approve the Metropolitan Area Regional Radio Systems annual maintenance fee.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes, and the item is approved. So that brings us to information reports. Mr. Randall?
Yes, I'd just like to mention, and she left pretty quickly because she doesn't like the limelight, but our finance manager, Rebecca Smith, has put a lot of work into this year's audit. Other staff include Linda Strange and City Clerk Kim Dury as well. As you heard from Brian, it was a clean audit in multiple fronts. The single audit being new this year for us was a pretty substantial deal. So I just want to give kudos to staff for the work that they do all year round, and then as well as the auditors are here to ensure that we have a good, clean audit and good financial statements.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you. Legal?
Nothing tonight.
Okay. Chief? Tom?
Our overlay program is progressing nicely. We should probably, hopefully be done with overlay by the end of this week or first part of next week. So, that's it. I'm sorry.
So, I noticed like on Powell between Fifth and First Street or whatever, or Outer Road. So is there any deep repairs required there?
Yes,
Or
there
are they just
are.
gonna be able to?
No, there are. We've marked a lot of those in pink. The problem is like, we mark them, they mill them off, we have to come back and remark them. Today, my crews were out replacing curb along there that it kind of heaves, so, but yeah, there is a lot of base repair on that segment of Powell.
Scott? No report. Kim?
No report.
Rachel?
No report.
Kelly?
I just want to agree with what Matt said and give props to the city staff for such an awesome audit report. That's pretty amazing to hear. There's really no opinion or no, whatever that word he used was. So good job, guys. That's all I got.
Jim?
Well, yeah, I want to say the same thing. Congratulations to the staff for doing an excellent job. But all the years I've been here, I don't think we've ever had a bad audit, so that's great, I think. Thank you.
No report.
No report.
And no report for me, so looking for a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn?
I'll second.
A motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Well, you get a cool fancy iPad.
Huh? Oh, yeah, I got my Mac, oh.
Don't do the gavel.
My Mac,
We were waiting
Mac
for
is
it.
getting slow.
Ah, I gotcha. Fancy.